Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you one of my favourite movies of all time. There are so many things about Aladdin that I love to this day. The animation, the music, the characters, mostly jokes, I could go on. And upon rewatching it, the animation quality is the first thing I find myself falling in love with all over again. It's so fluid, it could pass off as water. And it's full of beautiful gradients and colour choices. I mean, look at how intricately that sand is animated. It's almost dancing around this merchant. And I've always liked that shot of the camera being burnt alive. So we are introduced to the singing merchant who, I learnt many years later, is voiced by Robin Williams. Unless I'd read it myself on Wikipedia, I never would have believed it. Goes to show how much damn talent this man had. Though I never really found this opening sequence funny. What the hell is Dead Sea Tupperware? Plus he's a bit of a attention hog.
Hey, come here, come here. Give me a close-up, a close-up. This is a close-up. A close-up, you jerk, a close-up.
He does rather cliche-y introduce us to the plot via on a
dark night.
Next we meet the ever creepy Jafar, no last name given, with his rather vocal parrot Iago and the thief Gazim, who ends up being buried alive in the Cave of Wonders, so let's not discuss him any further. But he does deliver one of my favourite lines of all time.
1,000 apologies, oh patient one.
It's interesting to see how the CGI cave has dated over the years, despite it still looking okay amongst the traditional animation. Speaking of the cave, why didn't you close before this dude started strolling down your esophagus? Whoop-diddy-doo, just on the way to eternal riches, doodle-a-doo. You can also tell from the scene that Jafar is beyond used to Iago's snark.
I just don't believe it!
We then proceed to a Gilligan cut of the diamond in the rough, Aladdin, who is currently being hunted down more intensely than the royal family after a pregnancy announcement. First question, what is a French baguette doing in ancient Arabia? Well, as honest trailers put it,
that's how cartoon bread's drawn.
We are also introduced to Abu, who is one of the three things I hate about this film. He does have some amusing moments, but in my opinion, he uses a type of comedy relief that I feel distracts from Robin once he shows up. A few things occur during this pursuit musical number that I want to point out. Firstly, it seems like all cartoon characters wear interestingly coloured knickers. It's also amazing how not only did that handful of guards produce this many freaking weapons, but that none of them hit Aladdin. I'm also pretty sure Abu killed the sword swallower. Generally, blades shouldn't be anywhere near the esophagus. I hear that's bad for your health. And no way in hell did they land safely using a crappy piece of cloth as a parachute. Being a student who studied physics once upon a time, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, Aladdin would have been more carbon mushed into the sand than a diamond in the rough. I also love this scene where he passes on food to these other orphans. It shows how even though Aladdin is reduced to stealing and death-defying leaps to survive starving to death, he's still willing to help those in the same situation as himself. Although, kid, if a monkey's been eating that, I wouldn't be putting my lips on it. So Aladdin sings about how crappy his life is for 30 seconds, and then we are introduced to the Sultan, Raja, and Jasmine, who is clearly suffering from first world problem syndrome. I mean, I can understand why she wants to go and explore the world, but dude, look at the beautiful garden you're living in.
I've done a thing on my own.
You've got a pet tiger. Surely the outside world of mud and street rats can't be that compelling. The Sultan's desperate to try and wed his daughter off, so he consults with his right-hand man, the ultra-trustworthy, definitely not evil Jafar. How is the Sultan not picked up on the clearly evil alert? No one else in this film wears black and red, so obviously he shouldn't be considered the good guy. Plus he hypnotises the Sultan to giving him his enormous diamond ring that he definitely wasn't wearing 20 seconds ago. So Jasmine magically teleports from the tree in her garden to the outside world, and apart from, attracting Aladdin's attention, Abu even checks to see how many of Aladdin's brain cells died in that moment. We also realise that Aladdin must have knees of pure steel if he can crack that watermelon open.
Oh, wise Sultan, how may I serve you?
Honey, I wouldn't touch that ground unless Genie can whip up some sort of magical hand sanitizer for you. While these two are busy falling in love and leaping over rooftops, as well as me wondering how on earth this is the first time the guards have found where Aladdin lives, Jafar is engaging in some sort of black magic. I don't know what it is. Seeing as there's no big bubbling cauldron or incantations, Iago also proves to me that he's just one huge meme.
With all due respect, your rottenness!
The scene where Jasmine confronts Jafar regarding Aladdin's supposed execution was my favourite as a kid. It's incredible how well the animators portrayed Jasmine's grief here, but if I tried to hug my cat like that, she'd tear my eyes out. Because Aladdin's automatically protected from death via the main character rule, he's instead thrown in the dungeon, where Jafar disguises himself to lure him into strolling down the Cave of Wonders. What made me curious though is how Jafar's teeth can look so disgusting and terrifying here, yet later on he looks as though he's had braces on for 10 years. The Cave of Wonders is nothing really exciting. I mean, there's a lot of gold. That's kind of it. But the animators somehow gave a literal rug more emotion than Christians do it. And hey, that lamp must be important because the light of God is shining down upon it, even though there's no visible source of light in the cave. But because Abu is a pain in the butt, he goes and gets Aladdin almost buried alive in the cave after almost being drowned in a wave of bright lava. Wow, that was terrifying. But look at the beautiful contrasting colours here. Have I mentioned I love the animation yet?
Enter Robin Williams.
It feels great to rewatch this and finally understand most of his references. Some of the accents make it a bit hard to understand the lyrics in Friend Like Me, even after a billion viewings, but who cares? It's the best song in the whole movie.
Can your friends do this?
Buddy, if my friends could do that, they'd probably be burnt at the stake for witchcraft. Genie then explains the terms and conditions of Aladdin being his master. And of course, it's very convenient that he can't kill anybody.
So don't ask.
He also proves to me that he'd be an animator's worst nightmare. Trying to keep up with him is impossible.
Not to have to go, what do you need? What do you need?
What do you need?
We cut back to Jafar, who, gee, is he evil? I got no clue whatsoever. Can't believe Jafar didn't think of marrying Jasmine to become Sultan before either. While he's busy brainstorming, Aladdin finally decides to use his first wish to become a prince. So of course Genie decides that the best way for him to meet Jasmine is to parade him around the streets singing at the top of his lungs while showing off all his supposed riches. Makes me appreciate how Jasmine doesn't end up flaunting over him.
Royal Vizier, Jafar, he's delighted too.
Ecstatic.
I have a feeling this is what animal rights activists would have probably said when they saw this.
Whoa, look out, here I come.
Ooh, let's hope Peter aren't watching this movie. Okay, next question. How does Jasmine not recognise Aladdin? She wept over him for hours. Just because he's wearing a flimsy hat doesn't mean he's someone else. But somehow she ends up jumping on the magic carpet that would apparently require some seatbelts and goes for a spin around the world. And I've never really enjoyed A Whole New World, to be honest. Maybe it's because I've never been in a relationship, who knows? Maybe all I need to fall in love is to sing a duet with someone. Maybe it's because I keep getting annoyed at how Jasmine didn't figure this out earlier. So Jafar tries to kill Aladdin, fails miserably, and he ends up running from the Sultan's guards, apparently suffering a mental breakdown. He looks very similar to me when exam is finished.
I don't know, I think I'm making a weird face in it. Oh boy, he's cracked. He's gone nuts.
But even though now he's going to marry Jasmine, Aladdin's busy moping about despite being
The conquering hero.
To be fair, Aladdin, you are being a bit of a brat. You've only got one wish left, so regardless if the genie isn't free, you can only wish to keep up the appearance one more time. If he just freed the genie right there, the last third of the film would never happen. Iago gets the lamp, Jafar proclaims himself as the genie's new master, and dude, you can't press him any further into the floor. It is cool though that when Jafar is his master, Genie goes from being a kind-looking character to whatever this is. But then the ultimate twist comes forward. Prince Ali isn't actually a prince, who'd have guessed it? Surely by the time he gets himself back from being thrown to Himalayan country to have pneumonia or hypothermia or something. And it's very convenient that Carpet just so happened to follow him on his journey to the ends of the earth. This section always annoyed me. Why the hell doesn't Aladdin just run to the sides to avoid the giant falling tower instead of guessing where the window is going to land? Carpet would still be there. Aladdin flies back to Agrabah and finds that Jafar thinks red and orange are the in colours this year. Jasmine pretends to actually like Jafar to allow Aladdin time to grab the lamp. This romance bit was always creepy, considering Jasmine's supposed to be 16 and Jafar is like 45. And let me just say this, Jafar's annoying puns make him sound more like a dad than an all-powerful sorcerer.
I'm just getting warmed up.
So Jafar gets annoyed and starts firing lasers everywhere before morphing into this rather terrifying snake. This segment also demonstrates how Aladdin has unbelievable reflexes. No way his foot didn't get bitten off. Genie also makes a rather amusing cheerleader.
Rake 'em, rack 'em, rock 'em, rake. Stick that sword into that snake.
Jafar, he's our man if he can't do it.
And hey, it's really convenient that Genie explained earlier what comes with being a genie, so that Aladdin could trick Satan over here to becoming trapped in his new itty-bitty living space.
Get your blasted beak out of my face. Oh, shut up, moron!
Now the danger's over, it's time to face the consequences for lying to the Sultan, or he can end up marrying his daughter. I know it's one of those two. But of course the Sultan remembers he can change the law, so that we can have our happy ever after. Genie also delivers the best line to shout when you finish high school.
I'm history. No, I'm mythology. Nah, I don't care what I am. I'm free.
And this ending always made me assume that they got married. But when you watch Return of Jafar, they're still boyfriend and girlfriend. What more can I say about this other than that it's one of Disney's best works? Sure, it's not the most innovative tale on the planet, and it is a bit interesting, but who cares? Although I will say that it probably wouldn't be as fantastic had someone else to voice the genie. He just really makes this film work.
Pieces of broken memories.
What?